Today, we have a very fun guest on our show, Anthony ONeal. Since 2003, Anthony has helped hundreds of thousands of people make smart decisions with their money, relationships, and education. He is the #1 national best-selling author of Debt-Free Degree and national best-selling author of The Graduate Survival Guide. He recently released Destroy Your Student Loan Debt. He travels the country spreading his encouraging message that helps teens and young adults start their lives off right, and people of all ages succeed in money. Also, Anthony works for Dave Ramsey. So Anthony, welcome to the show. How are you?
Man, Evan, thanks so much for having me on the show, man. Such a huge honor. Ever since my publicist said this opportunity came in, I love seeing a young man work. So I'm like, yo, let's get on here and inspire some people. So thanks for having me on, bro.
You bet, man. Well, before we get into, our audience asked me one question to ask you. What is it like to work for Dave Ramsey?
To work with him, man, to really build my brand, to extend my message and even further along his message has been a dream come true. To work with the guy that is a multimillionaire that built this organization from the ground up to 1,000+ employees, to watch the circle that he's in, and I'm allowed to follow and be in that same circle. It is an opportunity that I'm trying to make sure that I take advantage, and I'm being wise in this season. So it's cool. The guy is a cool guy. He's a fun guy, but also he's the hardest working man I know on this side of the planet, man. So that's a huge honor.
That's awesome. Is he as intense in real life as he comes across on the radio?
Absolutely. He's very energetic. He's very passionate. He's going to let you know his true thoughts. I like it. I don't like it. That sucks. This is great. He's very determined to continue to build this organization. So what you hear on the radio is who Dave Ramsey is as well. But then you don't hear the loving, the supportive guy as much on the radio because he's probably one of my biggest cheerleaders, rooting me on to really grow and to be better. So such a solid, phenomenal man to work with.
That's awesome. Well, enough about, Dave Ramsey. Let's talk to you here. So, your story is incredible. You went to college, you had it all paid for between the GI Bill that your father had and scholarships. You lost it all, got into a lot of debt, and you had to work yourself out of it. What was that process like? What were the steps that you went through to have the self-realization moment and the habits and disciplines that you changed to get out of debt and have a financially free mindset?
I mean, that's a good question, bro. I think for me, I had to realize that I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I never want to be sick and tired again. Sleeping in the back of my car, taking showers at the YMCA and the Boys and Girls Club, and sometimes even in the back of my own car at the time. That was one of the most depressing seasons and time of my life. And so I quickly realized that I need to change my mindset so I can change my life and my future. And so I really got a hold of a vision. I said, you know what? Where do I want to go? Where do I want to be? What do I want to do? What do I want to experience? And so when I got a clear vision, one of the very first things I taught myself is how to have discipline. Because, bro, the discipline is the bridge between who we are today and to who we want to be tomorrow. Discipline is the bridge between where we are today and where we want to go. So if you want to change who you are and where you're going, you have to have discipline. And I had discipline. I say, you know what? I'm not going to go out to the club. I'm not going to go out on a big fancy restaurant for a date. Actually, I'm not even going to date. I say, I'm going to get 3 jobs and I'm just going to work hard and I'm going to get out of debt and I'm going to stack my money. And so those were the 2 practical things that I really had to have at such a young age to change my life around. A clear vision so I can know where I'm going and how I'm going to get there, and discipline that will help me get to that point.
So you mentioned that you had discipline. Originally, you didn't. Was it just like a switch that you were able to turn on and off? Or did you have were you growing up more disciplined because your father was military, so you had that and you just went away from it like the prodigal son and came back to it? Or
Man,
did it have to recreate it?
yeah, well, no, I already had it. I grew up in a very strong military Christian faith background, so I was taught discipline. I couldn't go out to high school dances because I had to come home and do certain things. I couldn't really live a teenage life. So when I became free, I said, forget discipline, forget rules. I want to be a grown man. And so when I became homeless, I said, I need to go back to discipline. But I redefined what discipline meant for me and my life, which was I got to stick true to my vision, stay true to my vision. I have to stay true to who I am and just go after my goals. And if my peers are not helping me get there, then I got to say those are not my peers. If my family's not helping me get there, then I got to love them from afar. And so you're right. I had it, but then I lost it. Then I got it back.
Wow. So the whole idea of redefining discipline, there are a lot of people, including myself, that struggle with discipline. And some of us have never really had it. So how would you go about, if you didn't grow up with it, go about developing things that allowed you to do that? Now, obviously, sometimes situationally forces you to do that. But if you have to be proactive in doing it, how would you do it?
If you got to be proactive, man, it starts in the mind. You have to, there's no secret sauce to this thing when it comes to discipline. There's no, let's work our way to discipline. No, you just got to have discipline. And discipline means it starts in your mind. So for an example, if you're saying you're not going to spend money eating out this week, discipline is, all right, I'm not going to do it. When the opportunity comes up to where you go buy Chick-fil-A and you see Chick-fil-A, discipline is you're going to say no. And when you say no, you now have discipline. So you have to make the choice to change immediately when it comes to discipline. If you say, I'm not going to do something, do not do it. It doesn't take you time to stay true to what you want to do. And so is it going to be easy? No, I'm not going to sit here in front. It's not easy today for me. I'm in the gym, bro, and I want to lose this extra weight that I gained over this quarantine time. And I've been eating right for like the last week and I don't like it. My body is like, what happened to the sugar? What happened to the ribs? And I'm like, hey man, I got to get right. But I love ribs. I love pancakes. But I'm like, I'm not going to do it because my goal is to get rid of this extra weight and to get a six pack. So that way, when I find my wife, she can like me.
Dude, it's funny. A couple things. One, last night we did not, budget. My wife and I, we didn't do our bills when the money came in. We didn't go grocery shopping because we didn't take the time to budget. So this morning we went to Chick-fil-A for breakfast.
Right.
Because we didn't have anything at home.
I'm glad I'm talking to you afterwards.
Oh, well, no, it was just perfect. And then you said Chick-fil-A and I was like, oh man. But yeah, anyway, quarantine has been a little bit better for me. I've actually lost about 30 pounds over 2.5+ months.
Man, I picked up 11 over the 2.5 months. 11. All in my stomach. I don't know how you did it. Maybe you need to give me some wisdom on how to lose in this quarantine.
I'm actually going to go to the doctor because I was a little scared, or am a little scared about how much weight I've lost so quickly.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, it was not intentional. And so I'm just like,
what? Were you eating good?
Not really. Well, let me take this back here. I've just eaten a lot less. And I'm probably a little bit more active with my boys. So that helps because they're home right now.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that's all it is and there's nothing else. We'll find out later.
Yeah.
But then, a couple of the other things, this year I stopped drinking pop.
Okay.
And I hadn't seen a change at all in 4 or 5 months. And then all of a sudden within the past month, I jumped on the scale and then I was down 20 pounds. And I was like, wait a second, I haven't been monitoring this. This seems scary. And then in 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks from that, I've dropped another 10 pounds. And so I'm like,
Man, I'm with you, man. I took soda out and I've been drinking water. This is my eighth one today.
Good for you.
So, man, I'm using the bathroom every 30 minutes. It is
Feels
so
like it, yeah,
uncomfortable. But you know what? It's going to help me get to my goals. So, I feel you, man. I really do.
for sure. So what does financial freedom, like if there's an it definition, because I understand it looks differently for different people,
Yeah.
but what are some of the same characteristics that people who are financially free and those who desire to be should look for?
Yeah, when it comes to financial freedom, I always say financial freedom is when you can do what you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it. If I grew up growing to where my family worked paycheck to paycheck, lived paycheck to paycheck, and they had to work, extra jobs just to provide for the family. And so we never went to Disney World. We never had the opportunity to get at least one pair of shoes every 2 months. No, I got one pair of shoes a year, and I wore that shoe with all my outfits, even if it didn't match. It didn't. Parents didn't care. Even to the point to where sometimes some of my shoes would get holes in them, and I would have to push my socks back up in my shoes and put duct tape on the bottom of them just so I can wear the shoe. And so when I think of financial freedom for me is I can do what I need to do for my family, and not just what I need to do. I can do what I would like to do for my family whenever I want to do it for my family within reasoning. And debt robs us of that opportunity. Um, I don't do debt. I don't care about a credit score. My thing is I want zero debt. And I want to build true wealth. I want to leave an inheritance to my children's children. I'll tell you something, bro, that I can't wait for, that I'm already saving for, is when I get kids like you, and they're older, right around like maybe 15, 16. Um,
I'm
you
not
know,
15 or 16.
yeah, yeah. I want to take my kids out of the country, man. I want to
Yeah.
take them to Israel and walk around, and experience different things that I couldn't experience, and just really, really just have a different lifestyle that I was not allowed to
Mm.
have, because of my parents were great parents, and they were working hard just to make sure that we would eat and have clothes on our back and have a roof over our head. But I want to give my kids something, and when I die, I want to leave them with something, with wealth, prosperity, joy, peace, not stress. Oh, dad didn't do this. So at 35, but I'm not even married. I don't have kids yet. I'm already thinking about my future, and to me, that's financial peace.
Right. Do you have a pretty nice life insurance policy already, even though you don't have children yet?
So I do have a term life insurance policy, yeah, that I have allocated out to right now my parents and my siblings, just in case something was to happen to me. It's not a huge. I'm not doing 10 times like my income, like what I suggest and what Dave suggests. But I
Right,
do
because you're not
have,
married or have a family yet.
yeah, yeah. So right now it's enough just to, make sure that I'm buried, and then make sure that my family are at least can benefit something from me
Right.
passing.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have two boys, one on the way, and a wife, and so I have a
Ooh,
pretty nice
yeah,
policy in place. And
yeah.
sometimes I wonder if my wife will ever take a hit out on me or not.
Yeah. She won't do it, bro. I promise you, man.
No,
I'll remember that. If I see you come up on the news, I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Let me
that
let me
guy.
let me check on the wife real quick. Wait a minute.
Right, she'd be balling.
Yeah, man.
Ugh. So, with everything that's going on right now in the world with COVID, and a lot of people are in a much harder financial situations than probably you or myself are in,
Mhm.
what advice would you give someone to protect their income,
Yeah.
but also to protect their families?
Yeah. When it comes to protecting your families, I want you to focus on the things you can control. You can control, not on the things you can't control. All right. So what can you control? You can control your family and what you all are experiencing in the home. I want you to focus on these things called the four walls. Okay. When it comes to the four walls, I want you to focus on your mortgage or rent payment, which is your shelter. Focus on making sure that you have enough food in there. Make sure that your utilities are on, your lights, your hot water, cold water, stuff like that, and make sure you have gas and a reliable transportation. You focus on those. Okay. If you're struggling right now, you don't have any income coming in, you know what? Don't worry about paying Sally Mae back. Don't worry about, paying extra on debt right now. No, I want you to focus on just making sure that you and your family or yourself can just live and get through this season. Because I get it. Right now, you got about nearly 33 million people have filed for unemployment, and that sucks, man. I mean, and
Yeah.
is what we all are going through. Even millionaires are feeling the hit of this because they're not making millions anymore. It's I don't care who you are and where you are, you're feeling this, and so I want people to know that even I am feeling this. I remember when this all first started, boy, I got kind of emotional, and I'm like, wait, I can't work for 2 months. I can't make any income for 2 months, and so just focus on the things you can control. Focus on taking care of the priorities. And then from there, see if you can get a job. There are a lot of different places that are hiring right now. It may not be your dream situation or what you really want to do. But right now, it's not about being picky. It's not about doing what you want to do. It's making sure that you can survive.
It's a good
And, and,
advice.
and that's important. The economy is going to turn back around. And sooner or later, you'll be able to get back into what you want to do. But don't touch your investments. If you have some investments already, let it sit there. I know the stock market is going up and down right now, but you don't want to pull any money out. Don't borrow
Yeah.
from it. Don't rack on any other debt. Just focus on your four walls. Ride this wave. We're going to be all right.
Right. And I think in a 401k that we have, it dropped like $20,000
Yeah.
at the start of this, and we're like, oh dear God, should we pause this? And my wife and I were talking. I was like, I just don't think so,
Yeah.
because in a month, 2 months at the most, it'll open back up and it'll start going up again, and we'll miss that. Like, we
Yeah.
can't. And
No.
I'm so glad we didn't, because it's already recovered, not
Mhm.
entirely, but it started the recovery process. And I think too is looking into the future for people. Look at what jobs are essential,
Yes.
because my wife and I are both lucky where both of our careers are essential. She works for a bank,
Yep.
and what she does is considered essential. And then I'm a real estate agent, and
Mm.
so what I do is considered essential.
Yep.
Now, don't get me wrong, the real estate market has been affected. And so, regardless of whether my position was essential or not, there wasn't a lot of things going on, but I still had stuff going on.
Yeah.
Because I just remember, man, graduating college 2010, theology degree, couldn't get a good job. Took me
Mm.
9 months. After 9 months, I finally got a job. And then within 4 years, I had 21 different jobs.
Yeah.
The economy was still not great at that time. And I just finally said, look, I'm going to go to a place where I'm my own boss and nobody can fire me. And
Mm.
regardless of whether I am or not making money, I still have a job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think we often overlook the opportunity to just work.
Yes.
And I like what you said. There's many jobs out there, and it might not be ideal. It might not be your dream, but don't overlook the opportunity to work to make money.
Agreed.
And so that was really, I really liked your point. Um, what do you think? Like, what do you think people should do with their money right now if they have money coming in? So, like, for us in our position.
I say, dude, when it comes, if you have money coming in right now and your job is stable, like you're an essential worker, it's not going away. If you have debt, man, now is a great time to attack it, because you have a lot of companies who are not adding on interest right now. Student loans are just sitting there and they're not racking up interest. Take care of your debt. Start thinking about your future. Take advantage to save you money in the long run. A lot of young people specifically think that, you know what, it's only $20 a month or it's only $100 a month. Yeah, but add up the interest. You see,
Mhm.
rich people look at how much is this going to cost me altogether. uh Normal people, average people, look at how much is this going to cost me a month and do not think about all the interest that they're paying. Prime example, if you took out a credit card and you had a $2,000 balance and had an 18% interest rate, and you just paid the minimum payment of $10 or 2%, whichever one is higher, and you let that sit there for 2 years, it will take you 30 years to pay off that account. Plus, you're spending nearly $5,000 in interest on top of the 2,000 that you already owe. So right now, if you have income coming in, take this opportunity to start paying off your debt. So you're saving you so much money in interest in the long run. And the money that you could save in interest, you can now start investing that into a 401k, into a Roth IRA, purchasing you a home, purchasing you some land, and really getting creative to start building true wealth. So I would say definitely attack your debt. And then one thing we've seen with COVID-19 is we need emergency funds. You know, we really need at least 3 to 6 months of emergencies because we just don't know when it's going to happen again. It's not a matter of if. We will see something similar to this. I hope it's not a disease, but back in 2008, we seen something just like this where a lot of people got laid off of work because of the crash. Yep.
Yeah.
So
well, you're right, and the crash.
Yep.
So let me ask you this, because you know that ironically, that's something that I've been doing, is paying off student loans in this time, taking advantage of full payments, no interest. And I think I actually only have like $900 left. So
let's go.
Now, don't get me wrong, with all of our debt that we have just a little on my student loans. We have a tornado shelter that we owe like $2,000 on. I had a couple different surgeries last year: knee surgery, appendix surgery, and then medical stuff with the family. Altogether, I think it's like under $10,000.
Cool.
If we wanted, we could pay off all of our debt right now. Like I said, it's all under $10,000, but it would almost wipe us out of savings.
Okay.
And so here's my question, because this is kind of where, and don't get yourself in trouble, but where I guess I disagree a little bit with Dave's message, only in my scenario.
Okay.
Because my income fluctuates drastically with the markets, with the time of the year, the seasons. We haven't, while we want to pay off debt and we do that, we've put more of an emphasis on 3 to 6 months of savings.
Okay.
Because I can go 2 months without making anything sometimes, or a month. It just depends. You know, I can have 3 transactions one month and then they all bust. Like they just, you know, I've had weird things like that happen.
Yeah.
And so I know Dave's Ramsey is get $1,000 in savings, pay off your debt, build 3 to 6 months. But what I noticed is when I did it that way, I kept going back into debt because I didn't have enough in savings. What? So
yeah.
What do you think?
It doesn't get me in trouble. I mean, we're just keeping it real on your podcast. This is you.
But what advice? I mean, like, would you say that's good advice? Because my income fluctuates, and
my income fluctuates just like yours as well. So I totally get it. And here's my thing. Dave is not going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so upset, because he understands the situation. So let's not worry about Dave. Here's my thing though. Is your income the income that's providing for the house? Because you said your wife is working. So let's say, for an example, you didn't make any income for 2 months. Will your wife's income be able to help your pay the bills, at least bare minimum?
Correct. Yeah. So we've kind of done that intentionally, where her stuff covers all of our living expenses, mortgage, and then all my stuff would just go to savings, debt, new cars. Well, not new cars, but savings for cars, house projects.
So in this season, I would say no. Keep your 10K. Keep your 10K. I wouldn't build it past then though. What I would do is going ahead and just the next house you sell, the next few houses you sell, put all that towards your debt. And here's why. Because all that's probably adding up to maybe $1,500 a month. Think that's money. Now you could be investing more, and that's gaining you more interest. Instead, you're paying somebody else interest, and they're racking up on your interest. And so for me, I would say 10K. Okay, cool. Especially during this season right now with the coronavirus and you're selling houses and stuff. Keep that part there. Use your wife's income to pay the bill. But then the next few houses, going ahead and take those commission checks and just drop it on the debt. So this way you can now jump into the baby step number 3 and get a fully funded 3 to 6 months. And then think about it. You and your wife, like, You got 6 months in an account, no debt, and you sell a big house and you make a big check. Like, think about the stuff you can really do.
Right.
And you're not really stressed about, okay, put this in the savings, or, oh man, put it towards that. It's like, babe, what you want to do? Let's take the kids to Disney World. You know, you can actually enjoy life without stressing about savings or debt. And so that's what I recommend in your case. The 10K, I get it while you're doing it. I'm going to say keep the 10K and just park it there, especially during the season. But the next houses that you sell, I'm putting it all towards that. That's what I'm doing.
So I have 3 questions I like to end each show on, and I know you got to go soon, so I'll spit these out. What is the biggest lie in your self-talk that you have had or currently have, your inner monologue?
The biggest lie in my self-talk, which is so funny, man, because I am actually reading a book. Oh, man, where'd it go? Oh, here it is. I am reading a book right now, What to Say to Yourself When You Talk to Yourself.
Dude, I interviewed him, Shad Helmstetter.
Bruh.
Awesome. I love that.
Yes, I'm like, I got to read this book. My mentor was like, yo, you need to read this book because oftentimes I am lying to myself. You know, I'm a single man, and I've always told myself, you know, I make a lot of money. Let's be real. But, you know, I feel as if I need to look better. So I'm in the gym all the time trying to get buff. And the biggest lie I'm telling myself is, yeah, you make money, but you don't look as good. That's a lie. Right. And I know that's a lie. And so that's one of the lies that I've been telling myself personally, that, you know, I need to look better before I can really approach a woman who I really want to approach.
Side note, my interview with Shad was probably the highest numbers of podcasts that I've had. Whole Person podcast. Go look at it. You'll love the interview with him.
Man, I would love to interview him. When did you interview him?
Last year. And then I plan on doing it again here pretty soon, so I can make the connection for you.
Please do. I want to get him on my show, man. I think he would just kill.
Send me your personal email, and then we can correspond that way. Definitely. Second question, what brings you peace?
Thinking about my family, my future family. I talk about them all the time. If you follow me on social media and on my YouTube channel, I really get excited about, you know, being a father, being a husband. Man, I built a house out here in Nashville, and man, when I cut the grass, man, I can't wait to teach my son how to get out here and be sneezing and cutting grass. You know, I can't wait to be like, son, get up, go cut that grass, boy, and be out there watching him sneezing and coming in here getting some water because his allergies all crazy. But I just get peace thinking about being a father and a husband.
That's awesome. Last question, man. What's the best decision you've ever made other than Jesus Christ?
Oh, man, the best decision I've ever made, one of them was joining the Dave Ramsey team. I have grown so much here. Being up underneath his mentorship has not just impacted my life personally, but it's impacting my family. You see, I'm the last living ONeal in my family. My mom's last name is Givens. My dad's last name is Ross. So I have my mother's maiden last name, ONeal. And so I'm the last living ONeal in our bloodline. So I get to start wealth in the ONeal family moving forward. And so I'm able to do that because of the information and sitting up underneath Dave Ramsey and Sharon Ramsey. So that was one of the best decisions I've made, not just for myself, but for my great grandkids I'll never meet. They'll be able to know me because of what I started here today.
That's awesome. Well, Anthony, man, thank you so much for your story, for all the work that you do, the books, this interview, podcast, bro. I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Have a great day.
You too, man.